All right, we on.
Shalom. First and foremost, we give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Bashir, Kakadash. The bonds to the apostles of Gms Columbus and show one to the faithfulness. Let's continue doing the work of the Lord. I am Gms Columbus Ohio. Sunday class. Once again, so today, Lord willing, we're going to the book of Isaiah. Alright, because when we, before the Psalms and all that, it was the book of Esther. So that was like during the Persian Empire, and then we went back to Psalms with King David and Proverbs, King Solomon. So now we're gonna go back up in time to the prophet Isaiah. All right, and so the main nations is gonna be Syrians, and then the Babylonians is gonna be mentioned. Their rise is prophesied, but so Lord willing, we can start with that article, and we can start at the beginning, and then we're gonna get a few scriptures. And then Lord willing, also too, just to add, certainly these kings' names, we're gonna also touch on them too. Gonna read a little bit about them. We ain't gonna read too much because we already did a class a few months ago about that, but just to refresh, you know what I'm saying. But whoever got that, you can start.
This is This is out of alabastercode.com. Alabaster. What is the book of Isaiah about? And did you get the meaning of Isaiah? Or?
Let me see. Low-key forgot.
Yeah, you shot it. But I can start reading real quick. Of all the books included in the Old Testament, the book of Isaiah is perhaps one of the most referenced and quoted in Christian spheres. Excuse me. The first of the so-called major prophets, a designation denoting length, not significance. Isaiah recounts the life and the teachings of the prophet Isaiah, who lived in the kingdom of Judah during the 8th century BCE.
Right, and the name real quick, Isaiah Yeshaya, right? And it says, Yahweh have saved. This is, you got it.
And so we'll explore the context around the book of Isaiah and offer a brief summary of what this biblical book is all about and how it has been understood and interpreted throughout history. We hope that this overview will encourage you to engage Isaiah with new insight. Context for the book of Isaiah. As the name of the book suggests, Isaiah centers around the messages and teachings that the Most High gave to the prophet Isaiah to share with the people of Israel. However, it also widely accepted by scholars today that the prophet did not write the entire book of Isaiah. The book covers an expansive period of time, which seems to point to it being a composition of several prophets or writers active during this period of Israel's history.
Right, and that, who knows, you know what I'm saying? Because some scholars say that, because maybe, I think it's going to mention again later, but the chapters 40 on up is they said that some of that is post, when Persian Empire or whatever, but I don't think so, because it was a scripture, I forgot, I might be able to find it, but that somebody in the New Testament was quoting, he said the book of Isaiah Isaiah said, and it was a later scripture that the scholars say that somebody else wrote. So I don't think so. I think it was just a lot of, because at the end of the Isaiah is more telling Jake about the pretty much prophecy, pretty much. That's why they think that it was a time skip. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately we don't really know. So it's a little willing. But you got it.
Historical context. Nevertheless, Isaiah himself plays a key role, a prophet of the southern kingdom. Isaiah was called by the Most High to share his message with God's people in 740 BC, the year that King Uzziah died.
Right, so real quick, let's get Isaiah 1:1. And you just read the first verse, that's it.
This is Isaiah 1:1. This is the vision of Isaiah, the son of Amos.
It says, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah.
Right, so he was there for all those different kings. All right, and matter of fact, yeah, keep going. Then we gonna go into these kings real quick. But at first, you finish that little paragraph.
I said, 740 BC, the year that King Uzziah died. This was a critical period in the southern kingdom of Judah's history. Uzziah was known as one of the best kings Judah had. The righteous rule marked a time of great prosperity for the kingdom. However, as prosperity boomed, the divide between the rich and poor in the kingdom grew wider.
Right. So real quick, we're gonna read. Let's get 2 Chronicles 26:1. We'll read a little bit of that.
2 Chronicles 26:1, it reads, Then all the people of Judah took Uzziah, who was 16 years old, and made him king in the room of his father, Amaziah. He built and loved.
And real quick too, Salaka, also, Uzziah got two names. Just to, let me see, I forgot his second name. I think it's, let me look it up real quick. Just so Jake, if you're reading, you won't be confused. His second name is Azariah, Salaki. Just so if you read in 2 Kings 15 and 2 Chronicles 26, it's the same king. You know what I'm saying? But and his name means Yahweh is my strength. But you got it.
Verses 2, it says, He built Eloth and restored it to Judah. After that, the king slept with his fathers. 16 years old was Uzziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Jecoliah of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that his father Amaziah did. And he sought the Most High in the days of Zechariah, who had understanding in the vision of the Most High. And as long as he sought Yahweh, God made him to prosper.
Right, and that Zechariah is not the same Zechariah in the book. Zechariah came way after. You know what I'm saying? Just so Jake know. But you got it.
Verse 6, it reads, And he went forth and warred against the Philistines and brake down the wall of God and the wall of Jabneh and the wall of Ashdod, and built cities about Ashdod and among the Philistines. And the Most keep going.
Yeah,
the Most High helped him against the Philistines and against the Arabians that dwelt in Gurbaal and Mehunims. And the Ammonites gave gifts to Uzziah, and his name spread abroad even to the entering in of Egypt, for he strengthened himself exceedingly. Moreover, Uzziah built towers in Jerusalem at the corner gate, and at the valley gate, and at the turning of the wall, and fortified them. Also he built towers in the desert, and digged many wells, for he had much cattle, both in the low country and in the plains, husbandmen also in vine dressers, in the mountains, and in camels, for he loved husbandry.
Right, and real quick, you could probably stop there. Yeah, we could stop there because, just setting up the scene, just what was, during the time of Isaiah. Because, he pretty much was a little bit latter in when Uzziah the king died, and then his son took over. But just to set the scene real quick, and also real quick, just to add, if you go, this is a website called Armstrong Institute of Biblical. All right, it says uncovering the king of Judah. And just real quick, I'm not gonna read all this. I'm just gonna get to the main points, just to show you that a lot of this all of this history is true. There was seals of royal servants that was found in Israel that pretty much says belonging to Abijah, servant of Uzziah, so on and so forth. And they got the little picture with the Hebrew. And then Also, a Syrian king wrote about him too. You know what I'm saying? And also there was a plaque too that was that showed him that not showed him, so like that said, you know, pretty much his body lay here and stuff like that, just to show that this man actually lived. You know what I mean? He actually, the scriptures are true that at that time when he was king, Israel was really prosperous. You know what I'm saying? So now we can go back to the article.
All right. Back at the article. All right, so back at alabaster.com. At the same time, the threat of invasion from Assyria was mounting, Things got even more grave when King Uzziah contracted leprosy and was forced to give over the throne of the nation of Judah to his son, Jotham.
And real quick, you know, just to save time, you know what I mean? Because he was a righteous king, but he got proud towards the end. And he tried to go into the temple and burn incense, and the priests, you know, cussed him out pretty much. And then the Lord gave him leprosy, you know, all the way up to his head. And then he had to go separate himself, and that's when his son had to take over. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, just to fill that in real quick. But you got it.
This is unlike his father. Jotham was a weak and vacillating person and was unable to inspire confidence in his people. This is the political situation Isaiah begins his prophetic work in.
Right now, you know, Jotham, the king Jotham, he was a righteous king too as well. It's just that Jake was going to fuck off, and he didn't really punish them as he should. But he still was a righteous king though. We can read just a little bit about him real quick. Just like I said, just to paint the picture of what's going on in that time.
Chronicles 27.
Con, you got it.
So 2 Chronicles 27. You may start at the top.
Yeah.
It says Jotham. It says Jotham was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
His mother's name also was Jerusha, the daughter of Zadok.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that his father Uzziah did. Howbeit he entered not into the temple of Yahweh, and the people did yet corruptly.
Mm-hmm.
He built the high gate of the house of Yahweh, and on the wall of Ophel he built much.
Right, we can stop there. Yeah, we can stop there. But yeah, he was a righteous king, but he just, you know, he could have, you know, put a little bit more judgment out there. You know, the people was being wicked, you know what I'm saying, as Jake do, you know what I'm saying. But we can go back to the article.
Back at it.
But matter of fact, let's get Isaiah, just to show that, let's get Isaiah 6:1.
So Isaiah 6:1, it says, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also Yahweh sitting upon a throne high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple.
Mm-hmm.
Above it stood the seraphims.
Versus angels. You got it.
Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly.
Mm-hmm.
And one cried unto another and said, Holy, holy, holy is Yahweh of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Then said I, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For mine eyes have seen the King, Yahweh of hosts.
Mm-hmm.
Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar, and he laid it upon my mouth and said, Lo, he laid it upon his mouth and said, Lo, this have touched my lips, and thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin is purged.
Mm-hmm.
Also I heard the voice of Yahweh saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then said I, Here am I send me. And he said, Go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not. and see ye indeed, but perceive not.
Right, so we stop there, you know what I'm saying? Just going into Isaiah's ministry, you know, he began right there and start prophesying to the people, all right, and also to the kings. You know, that's the thing too, these different prophets, these different kings, a lot of them stories, intercepts, you know what I mean? Because, like Isaiah and Hezekiah, stuff like that, which we're going to go into later, and so on and so forth, But, yeah, the prophets, the kings, and the priests, all that, they all played a big part, and they all was there together. And that's crazy, too, because, like, years ago, I never really thought about that. Like, we read the prophets, stuff like that, but I never really connected that, you know what I'm saying? But let me see. We can read. Nah, we're gonna wait. We're gonna read 7 in a minute. But you can go back to the article.
Structure. In the past, scholars have divided Isaiah into 3 key sections. Modern consensus, however,
That's that my fault. So like, cause I don't think they're gonna really go into it like that. So we could just go to Isaiah 7:1 real quick.
So Isaiah 7:1, it reads, "And it came to pass in the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, that Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, went up toward Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail against it."
Right. So now it's a time skip again, because the first was Uzziah, then it was Jotham. Was that chapter 6, and then chapter 7 now is the king Ahaz, the son of Jotham. You know what I'm saying? But you got it. And then my fault. What did he say? He said Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel. So pretty much, even this in history, you look it up, they came together, and then they wanted to attack, because of course we know that Israel and Judah was split. So they went to those 2 kings, got together and tried to go attack the Judah. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord was going to pretty much deliver Judah. You see what I'm saying? But you got it.
Verses 2, it says, "And it was told the house of David, saying, Syria is confederate with Ephraim, and his heart was moved in the heart of his people, as the trees of the wood are moved with the wind."
Right, so he's afraid, you know what I'm saying? You moved in your mind, you're distressed, but you got it.
"Then said Yahweh unto Isaiah, Go forth now to meet Ahaz, thou and Sherah-Jashub, thy son, at the end of the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field."
Right, and Isaiah, I believe he only had 2 sons. Right now he got 1. I think he's about to have another one. I believe it was 2. But what's his name? Sherah-Jashub. I believe that name means, which somebody can confirm it for me, Bob Shot, a blue letter. I believe it means remnant, return. These different names that's about to pop up is going to be very important. You know what I'm saying? Ominomus,
Confirmed.
Khan. That's good? Oh, Khan, yep. Khan. And, he mentions that too, the remnant shall return. I think that's Isaiah 10, that was said a lot in the book of Isaiah. But you got it.
It says, verses 4, "And say unto him, Take heed and be quiet, fear not, neither be faint-hearted, for the 2 tails of these smoking firebrands, for the fierce anger of Rezin with Syria, and the son of Remaliah, because Syria, Ephraim, and the son of Remaliah have taken evil counsel against thee, saying, Let us go up against Judah and vex it, and let us make a breach therein for us, and set a king in the midst of it, even the son of Tabiel."
Mm-hmm.
Of Tabiel.
It said, we just get to verse 10, just, to the main points.
Verses 10. It says, "Moreover, Yahweh spake again unto Ahaz, saying, Ask thee a sign of Yahweh thy God. Ask it either in depth or in the height above.
Mm-hmm.
But Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt Yahweh.
Right, so pretty much, Isaiah was giving the message to the king, Ahaz. All right, and then he's like, well, ask your sign, just to see, because he pretty much told him that, they ain't going to prevail against you. And he said, ask a sign, just to prove the Lord going to do that. And he said, I don't need a sign, but the Lord going to give him a sign anyway. And now this scripture right here is double fold, because we're going to go into it, but you got it.
Verse 13, it says, and he said, hear ye now, O house of David, is it a small thing for you to weary men, but will ye weary my God also?
Mm-hmm.
Therefore Yahweh himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel.
Which we already know this breakdown, but can somebody get the word virgin just to, prove it? Because like I said, this scripture is double fold. Of course, first and foremost, it's talking about Yahweh Shai, you know what I'm saying? But also it actually happened in this time too. You know what I'm saying? And of course, the virgin doesn't mean that she really was a virgin. It's just a young woman. But we're going to go on to all that. But you got it. Whoever got that word.
Young virgin, or young virgin, is a young woman, a marriageable age, made or newly married.
Yes, sir. And then you got some in the lexicon too, because I think it says some more. Or the strong definition, I think it was.
Strong, it says damsel, maid, virgin. Going to the Strong's, it says young woman, ripe sexually.
There you go. Right.
Made or newly married.
Right, you ripe sexually, which is what? When she get her period. A lot of these, and you can really make a simple Google search, really. A lot of these women that, like Mary, Rebecca, stuff like that, you look up how old they was, and it's going to say what, who married Rebecca? Isaac, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to say, I remember I looked it up like last week. Isaac, it's going to say like Isaac was like around 40 and Rebecca was like 14. Same thing with Mary.
Sure, I was researching it too. She was fairly young.
Mm-hmm.
When he's doing what he did when he first seen her, took her to the tent.
Yeah, handle that.
No talking.
Yeah, come.
And he was an older man, so to speak.
Come. Yep. But that was it, right? That word.
The Hebrew word is what I lamah.
Mm-hmm. Come. Alright, let me go back to that scripture. In Emmanuel means, God with us. You know what I'm saying? But you got it.
So Isaiah 7 and verses 15, it reads, butter and honey shall he eat, and he may now, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. For behold, the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good. The land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings.
Right, so he's saying before the child, because the child is about to be born. Like I said, it's double fold, Yahweh Shai. But this one is going to go into the next chapter. But when this child was born, before he was even was old enough and got older and things and could know good and evil and all these different things, that the Lord was going to deliver Judah from, Israel and Syria. You know what I'm saying? So the Lord going to make a quick work pretty much. All right. So you can read a few more verses in there.
Verse 17, it reads, Yahweh shall bring upon thee and upon thy people and upon thy father's house days that have not come from the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, even the king of Assyria. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall hiss for the fly that is in the uttermost part of the rivers of Egypt, and for the bee that is in the land of Assyria.
Right. So now, you see Assyria coming into the scene. So now let's go to chapter 8, and you start at 1, just to further explain what that prophecy means.
This is Isaiah 8:1. Moreover, Yahweh said unto me, take thee a great roll, and write in it with a man's pen concerning Mahershala Hashbaz. And I took unto me faithful witness to record Uriah the priest and Zechariah the son of Jeberechiah. And I went unto the prophetess, and she conceived and bare a son. Then said Yahweh to me, call his name Maher-shalal Hashbaz, for before the child shall have knowledge to cry, my father and my mother, the riches of Damascus and the spoils of Samaria shall be taken away before the king of Assyria.
Right. So can we look at that name real quick? But it's gonna go on to it. You know what I mean? Pretty much we said for before the child shall have knowledge to cry, my mother and father, the riches of Damascus and the spoils of Samaria shall be taken away before the king of Assyria. Because, you know, Assyria is gonna pretty much get in a mix of all this, and then they was gonna the Syrians and Syrians and Israel is gonna have to stop fighting. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if you got that name, it's gonna go into it.
Mahash,
You got it?
yeah. So the Mahar Shalal Kawash Baz. It says swift is booty, speedy is prey. Symbolic name given by Isaiah by the Lord. Direction to Isaiah's son. Prophetic indication that Damascus and Samaria were soon to be plundered by the king of Assyria.
Right. You see what I'm saying? So that's the omen right there. So he gave his son, because you know prophetess too. I forgot to mention that, but the prophetess, a woman can be a prophetess. If like if you a prophet, your wife is a prophetess. That's what makes her a prophetess. You know what I'm saying? That's the technical. Just like if you're a president and you got the first lady, you know what I'm saying? Just something like that. You know what I mean? So Isaiah, his son, came, and then that was the prophecy saying that the Lord's gonna put a quick end to Samaria, which was happening. That's how we already went to. You ain't gonna go too deep into it because we already did a class on it, where a Syrian came and took Israel and replaced them and put heathen in that land of Samaria. You know what I'm saying? But let me see. You can read a few more verses.
Drop the glasses,
Verses
bro.
5, yeah, come. So Yahweh spake also unto me again, saying, for as much as this people refuses the waters of Shiloh, or Shiloah, that go softly and rejoice in Rezin, and Ramah, Leah's son, now therefore, behold, Yahweh bringeth up upon them the waters of the river, strong and many, even the king of Assyria, in all his glory, and he shall come up over all his channels, and go over all his banks, and he shall pass through Judah, he shall overflow and go over, and shall reach even to the neck, and the stretching out of his wings shall fill the breadth of thy land, O Emmanuel.
Come on. Now, real quick, let's get let me see. Matter of fact, we'll probably get that later. I think let's get 2 Kings 18.
Just 2 Kings 18?
Yeah, 9. But we could probably read that in a minute. Just hold it for a second. So now we can go to my fault. I gotta get my notes together in the right manner. But so yeah, so this event didn't happen yet. The Syrians didn't take Samaria yet. So real quick, let's get Isaiah 10 and 5 just to show the prophecy of the Assyrians, and then Lord willing, down the line we're gonna go into the actual story.
All right. It's Isaiah chapter 10, verse 5. It says, O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hands is my indignation. I will send him against an hypocritical nation.
But real quick, because he said around my indignation, because these heathen are the Lord's sword, you know, chiefly now Esau Edom, but that's what the Lord do. You know, he used the heathen as a whooping stick to put on Israel. You know what I'm saying? But you got it.
Can I get a quick proof of it?
Yes, sir.
Might as well get it.
I got it. Psalm 17.
Oh, well. I was gonna get something else. That's cool. You can read, bro.
Just real quick, Psalm 17:13. Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down. Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. You know, ultimately, you know, Esau, Edom is the wicked, but in any event, the Lord uses these heathen as a sword, you know. I don't know if that was where Jake was going.
No, I was going another. Well, it's all good. That's a good precept. All right. It's back at Isaiah 10 and back at 6. I will send them against an hypocritical nation and against the people of my wrath.
Right. That's learning to Israel, the hypocritical nation. That's why they getting ass whooped, because you know, niggas are off. You know, especially at that time, the land of or the people, or the northern tribe. You know what I'm saying? That's why the Lord said he cast out the whole seed of Israel. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I believe there were certain prophets, I believe that went to Judah, I believe, but you know what I'm saying? But yeah, the niggas was off, man. The Lord had to kick all of them. Then Judah too, you know? Because then Judah, they was next, you know? But you got it.
You seeing that right now play out? Man.
Yeah, because it's always like that. Israel gets fucked up first, and then it's Judah. Just like slavery, you know, the northern tribe got fucked up first, and then Judah came. Even now, ICE went targeted northern tribe first, and then now they targeting the Haitians and things like that.
Dang, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Dang.
But you got it.
Of my wrath will I give him a charge to take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire of the streets.
Okay, Con. So now let's go to the article, and then we're gonna go back to that scripture we was holding.
All right. Back at the article, midway of structure, it said the division is made of the basis of literary characteristics, with the first part encompassing Isaiah chapters 1 through 39, and the second including chapters 40 through 66. Part of 1 contains warnings of judgment and promises future restoration for Jerusalem, Judah, and all the nations. In part 2, the forewarned judgment has already taken place, and the time for restoration is at hand.
So like, where you at? You in a bullet points right now?
No, I was in the structure part.
Oh, okay, Con.
Just finish it up.
Okay, Con. Okay, my fault. You got it.
All right, summary of Isaiah. As discussed, the book of Isaiah can be separated into 2 major parts. Isaiah chapters 1 through 39 centers primarily around Judah and Jerusalem, when the city was still standing and when the kingdom was at risk of invasion from the Assyrians.
Right, and again, I believe they said that because they think that the latter end was, like we mentioned earlier, the latter end was written by somebody else. But no, Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah, was only during the time of the Assyrians. He wasn't during the time of when Babylon took over Judah and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That was way after him. You know what I'm saying? But you got it. But he did prophesy about Judah too, though, just to add that there. But you got it.
So, chapters 1 through 12, oracles or words of warning and judgment against Judah from Isaiah's early years as a prophet. Chapters 13 to 23, oracles against foreign nations from the middle of Isaiah's career. Chapters 24 to 27, this section is referred to by scholars as the Isaiah Apocalypse. It is believed to have been added at a much later date. Chapters 28 to 33, words of wisdom from the latter part of Isaiah's ministry. Chapters 34 to 35, a prophetic vision of restoration for the future. Chapters 36 to 39, stories from Isaiah's life. Central to this section are stories about King Hezekiah, who was king near the end of Isaiah's ministry. While threats of captivity continue mounting, the reign of King Hezekiah ultimately comes to an end, and with its begin the Babylonian captivity.
Right, so we can stop right there, and then we can go into that scripture we was hoping.
This is 2 Kings chapter 18, in verse 5. Did you say that 5, right?
Yeah.
No. Alright, this is 2 Kings 18:9. And it came to pass in the 4th year of King Hezekiah, which was the 7th year of
Okay. Let's skip around a little bit. Let's start at 1. We can read 1 and then mm, 1 and then we can skip down to 7. Yeah, you got it.
2 Kings 18:1. Now it came to pass in the 3rd year of Hoshea, son of Elah, king of Israel, that Hezekiah, the son of Ahaz, king of Judah, began to reign. Jump down to 7. For the clave to the Lord Yahweh and departed not from following him.
Ooh, my fault. Hold on. I think I missed a part. I think I missed something. An event that was important. Let me see real quick. Let me just double check. Salakia. Yeah, Salak, I missed a very major point. Before we go into that, can we get 2 Kings 16? But go down to we start at 5.
2 Kings 16:5. Then Rezin, king of Syria, and Pekah, son of Remaliah, king of Israel, came up to Jerusalem to war, and they besieged Ahaz, but could not overcome him. At that time, Rezin, king of Syria, recovered Elath to Syria, and drave the Jews from Elath, and the Syrians came to Elath and dwelt there unto this day. Verse 7. So Ahaz sent messengers to Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, saying, I am thy servant and thy son. Come up and save me out of the hand of the king of Syria and out the hand of the king of Israel, which rise up against me.
Right, so now now the king Ahaz was calling upon the Assyrians for help, you know what I'm saying? And then he gave him money, and then he came for his rescue. And then I believe that's when that was the start of the Assyrians pretty much having Judah as paying tribute pretty much. And then pretty much they gonna start rebelling against Assyria. And they're gonna stop paying them, and then that's when the Syrians came down to attack. You know what I'm saying? But you got it.
Verse 8. And Ahaz took the silver and gold that was found in the house of the Lord Yahweh and in the treasures of the king's house, and sent it for a present to the king of Assyria. And the king of Assyria here hearkened unto him. For the king of Assyria went up against Damascus and took it, and carried the people of it captive to Kir, and slew Rezin. And King Ahaz went to Damascus to meet Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and saw an altar that was at Damascus. And the king Ahaz sent to Urijah the priest the fashion of the altar and the pattern of it, according to all the workmanship thereof.
Right, we can stop there, you know what I'm saying? But then it goes to, they started taking the fashion of the heathen altar and stuff like that, mixing the mingling with different heathen worship and things like that. But still, though, I believe, though, King Ahaz was still a righteous king, though. But just to show you what happened, before we get into Hezekiah, the king Hezekiah, you know what I'm saying?
You said Ahaz?
Yeah.
I think he did evil.
Oh, he was evil?
Yeah.
Is he? Okay. Khan, you right. Khan, he's a wicked nigga. Alright. And then,
He in the beginning, he
right.
basically mentioned it all.
Khan. Alright, Khan, you got it. Is it good?
Yeah.
And the Lord kept having mercy on him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, well, how long you got?
Like
Yeah,
he ain't
40
like.
minutes.
I want. Let me see.
Not the one he said wasn't as wicked as Israel king or something like that. But he still was.
Well, did you read 2 Kings 16 and what you read just one?
No, we went down a little bit.
Now did he read one? Verse 1?
No.
No.
Just real quick. It says 2 Kings 16 at the top. It says in the 17th year of Pekah and the son of Remaliah, Ahaz the son of Jotham, king of Judah, began to reign. 20 years old was Ahaz. He began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem, and did not that which was right in the sight of Yahweh, his God, like David his father. But he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, yet and made his son to pass through the fire according to the abomination of the heathen, whom Yahweh cast out from before the children of Israel. And he sacrificed burnt incense in the high places and on the hills and under every green tree. Yeah, so he was going off.
Come. Alright. So now, let me see. I think we're done in this one. Let me see. Matter of fact, you still in 16 or where? We can read verse 20, and then we can go to chapter 18.
All right, jumping to 20. And Ahaz slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of King David. And Hezekiah, his son, reigned in his stead.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So now King Hezekiah is in the scene now. So now this is the last king, as far as Isaiah's ministry. You know what I'm saying? But you got it.
Where you want me to go?
2 Kings 18, and we didn't start that, right? Or you start at 1, then we're probably gonna skip around a little bit.
Verse 1, 2 Kings 18:1. Now it came to pass in the 3rd year of Hoshea, son of Elah, king of Israel, that Hezekiah, the son of Ahaz, king of Judah, began to reign. 25 years old was when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Abi, daughter of Zechariah, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord Yahweh, according to all that King David his father did. He removed.
Oh, you can skip down to 7.
I'll say, could Jay read verse 4?
Come on.
Only because it's going to prove, further like what Ahaz was doing. Because he had to clean shit up, pretty much.
All right, verse 4. He removed the high places and brake the images and cut down the groves and brake in pieces the brazen serpent that Moses had made. For unto those days the children of Israel did burn incense to it, and he called it Nehushtan. Jumping down to 7.
Just so he cleaned up everything,
Verse 7. And the Lord Yahweh was with him, and he prospered whithersoever he went forth, and he rebelled against the king of Assyria and served him not. He smote the Philistines even unto Gaza and the borders thereof, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. And it came to pass in the 4th year of King Hezekiah, which was the 7th year of Hoshea, son of Elah, king of Israel, that Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, came up against Samaria and besieged it. And at the end of 3 years, they took it.
Samaria, the capital of the northern kingdom. I'm saying, what you got?
And at the end of 3 years, they took it. Even in the 6th year of Hezekiah, that is the 9th year of Hoshea, king of Israel, Samaria was taken. And the king of Assyria did carry away Israel to Assyria and put them in Halah.
Now I was gonna make a point. And if you notice, I was the last king of Israel. Before they went. That's how they went into complete. They was completely through at that point.
Right.
Was it Hoshea? That was the last king of Israel.
They said Assyria put them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes, because they obeyed not the voice of the Lord their power, but transgressed his covenant in all that Moses, the servant of the Lord Yahweh, commanded, and would not hear them nor do them not.
Right, so now King of Israel threw, that shit fell. They got kicked out, got put in the land of Syria, stuff like that, and the heathen came back. I mean, not came back. The heathen got put in that land. That's why you see in the time of Yahushua, there was like a mixed, group there. You know what I'm saying? Because that, from that situation. All right. And also too, just a little fun fact. If you look at the map, you got Syria, Samaria, but above it is the land of Galilee. You know what I'm saying? Like right above it. You know what I mean? That was Yahushua. Like he did a lot of his ministry there. You know what I'm saying? So they were still, at the time of Yahushua, it still was Jake, but it was just a very mixed group in that area, Samaria and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? Because then also too, the Romans, if you look into the history of the Romans, they also had Hellenistic Roman people there living there too. And it was a mixture, you know what I'm saying? But you got it.
Verse 14, and Hezekiah, king of Judah, sent to the king of Assyria, to Lachish, saying, I have offended. Return from me that which thou puttest on me, I will bear. And the king of Assyria appointed unto Hezekiah, king of Judah, 300 talents of silver and 30 talents of gold. And Hezekiah gave him all the silver that was found in the house of the Lord and in the treasures of the king's house. At that time did Hezekiah cut off the gold from the doors of the temple of the Lord and from the pillars which Hezekiah, king of Judah, had overlaid, and gave it to the king of Assyria. And the king of Assyria sent Tartan and Rabsaris and Rabshakeh from Lachish to King Hezekiah with a great host against Jerusalem. And they went up and came to Jerusalem, and when they were come up, they came and stood by the conduit of the upper pool, which is in the high way of the fuller's field. And when they had called to the king, there came out to them Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joab, the son of Asaph, the recorder. And Rabshakeh said unto them, Speak ye now to Hezekiah, thus saith the great king, the king of Assyria, what confidence is this wherein thou trustest?
Right, and real quick, Jake can read that all the time. They pretty much just talking shit like, hey, well, we destroyed all these nations, we're gonna destroy you, We could, just for the sake of time, we can skip that part. So now we can go to the very next chapter. You can start at 1.
This is Isaiah, 2 Kings 19. And it came to pass, when the king Hezekiah heard it, that he rent his clothes and covered himself with sackcloth and went into the house of the Lord. And he sent Eliakim, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and the elders of the priests covered with sackcloth, to Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos.
What chapter and verse you in?
19, 2 Kings 19:1.
Okay, okay. All right. So you see now you got Isaiah. So they sent for Isaiah, and then Lord willing, they're gonna be delivered because the Lord didn't sanction Assyria to take over Judah. That was Babylon's lot. You know what I'm saying? But you got it.
Verse 3, and they said unto him, Thus saith Hezekiah, this day is a day of trouble and of rebuke and blasphemy, for the children are come to the birth, and there is not strength to bring forth. It may be the Lord thy power will hear all the words of Rabshakeh, whom the king of Assyria, his master, hath sent all to reproach the living power, and will reprove the words which the Lord Yahweh thy power have heard. Wherefore lift up thy prayer for the remnant that are left.
Right, because remember, Isaiah's son was named Remnant Shall Return. Like I said in the book of Isaiah, he mentioned the word remnant a few times. You know what I'm saying? But you got it.
So the servants of King Hezekiah came to Isaiah, and Isaiah said unto them, Thus shall ye say to your master, Thus saith the Lord, Be not afraid of the words which thou hast heard, with which the servants of the king of Assyria have blasphemed me. Behold, I will send a blast upon him, and he shall hear rumor, and shall return to his own land, and I will cause him to fall by the sword in his own land.
And now we can just get to 32 because that prophecy was fulfilled. But you got it.
Verse 32. Therefore, thus saith the Lord concerning the king of Assyria, he shall not come into this city, nor shoot an arrow there, nor come before it with shield, nor cast a bank against it. By the way that he came, by the same shall he return, and shall not come into this city, saith the Lord. For I will defend this city to save it for mine own sake, and for my servant King David's sake. And it came to pass that night that the angel of the Lord went out and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000. And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses.
Right, so that shit was crazy, bro. You gotta really think. Well, first, if I finish my point, then we'll go back in time. But you gotta really think. This is a real event. Like, imagine, you in your tent, and you sleeping, and you wake up, and you see number dead, your whole army dead and shit. Like, he probably was looking like, what the actual fuck? Like, you know what I mean? You know, that's something you see, you witness something supernatural or whatever, and then you just like, what the fuck just happened? This man was through, so he had to flee. He had to go back to his land. You know what I'm saying? And the Jake didn't have to lift no finger. You know what I'm saying? And also too, just to add, real quick, during this time of the siege, they found because King, if you read King Hezekiah's story, which we don't gotta really touch on it right now, but you can do it on your own time. But they made a tunnel, underground tunnel. Because first it was like a river that was, the water was coming down and watering all the garden and stuff like that, vineyard. I think it was like a garden or something like that, trees and shit. But then when that siege happened, they went underground and they digged, and even people today was like shocked, like how the fuck they even did it. And there was a description. Matter of fact, I took a picture of it too, because I put the video in the chat. But it was a picture that they wrote in the tunnel how they did it. It's called the Saloim inscription. Reads the tunneling, and this is the story of the tunneling. While the pickaxes each crew towards the other, so you had each crew on one side or the other, and they came into the middle and met. All right, it says, and while there were still 3 cubits to cut, the voice of a man was heard calling to the counterpart, for there was and then it got a part where I guess they can't read that word, I guess. So it says, there was some blank in the rock on the right, and on the day of breaking through, the miners hewn each man towards his fellow, pickaxe against pickaxe, and the water flowed from the spring to the reservoir, 1,200 cubits, and the height of the rock above the stone cutters was 100 cubits. You know what I'm saying? So I just show you, Jake actually did that, and that's written in the scriptures. And you can look it up on YouTube. You know what I mean? And people can still go through it today, and they say it takes like 30 minutes to go all the way through. You know what I'm saying? But that's what Jake was doing, because they couldn't go out to go, get the water because it was on the season. They also didn't want to give the water to the Assyrians, so they just redirected the river to inside. You know what I'm saying? That's just a quick little fact. But you can finish that little chapter out and go back to the article.
Verse 36. So Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed and went and returned and dwelt at Nineveh. And it came to pass, as he was worshiping in the house of Nisroch, his god, that Adramelech and Sharezer, his son, smote him with the sword. And they escaped into the land of Armenia. And Esarhaddon, his son, reigned in his stead.
Right, see, so the Lord took care of that for us, through the Spirit. The nigga was through. He lost his army. His own sons assassinated him, and that was that. And then, it keeps going on and on about King Hezekiah caught sickness, and the Lord extended his life, I believe, like 15 years. You know what I'm saying? And then, so Lord willing, we can stop there. We can go back to the article and we can finish that out, and then we close out.
Chapters 40 to 48, assurance of the comfort of Most High which comes through His servant. 49 to 57, assurance that the salvation of the Most High will come through the suffering servant.
Right, which was that 53, Isaiah 53, goes into the prophecy of Yahushua. And I believe, I don't know if it mentioned it or it might mention it down, but it's going to mention it. Pretty much in the Gospels, or the New Testament too as well, like the Acts and things like that, Isaiah was like the most quoted book in the New Testament. You know what I'm saying? Especially dealing with Yahushua, like the what's that the eunuch in Ethiopia. Remember he was asking who was it? He was asking somebody, what does this mean? And he broke it down to him. You know what I'm saying? But you got it.
49 through 57, assurance that the salvation of the Most High will come through the suffering servant. Chapters 49 and 52, 12, the Most High's servant is the Redeemer of the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
Chapters 52, 13 and 53, 12, redemption is wrought by the suffering servant, also referred to as Most High's Lamb.
Yahushua once again.
Chapters 54, 66 outlines the need for a Redeemer and tells of what the coming restoration would be like.
So, pretty much we got 2 more chapters or paragraphs. And we can close it out with that. But that's pretty much the overview of the book of Isaiah. So now we can just you're going to get like a couple of fun facts about it and then we can close out. You got it.
Interpretation of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah has long been viewed by the church as the most Christological of all the prophets. Isaiah is so significant, in fact, that the book has frequently been called the 5th gospel of 37 quotations from the Old Testament. Prophets and Apostle Paul's letters, 27 come from Isaiah. Isaiah is also frequently referenced and quoted in the Gospels and in Acts, usually as the writers point to Yahushua as a fulfillment of Isaiah's prophecies of a Savior. Mm-hmm. Isaiah describes and has clear impact and implication for the time and culture in which it was written, but the words of warning, wisdom, and assurance continue to speak to us today. Isaiah speaks out against corrupt leaders, and for the disadvantaged, and roots righteousness in the Most High, in the Most High's holiness rather than in anything we as people earn on our own. It is a powerful call to fix our eyes upon the Lord and an encouraging vision of the Most High's plan for restoration for all the world.
Right, which can we get word with that in? It should be in Isaiah or something, because that world is talking about Israel, not or the whole world is going to be restored, but salvation ain't going to be to the Gentiles. It's only going to be to the Israelites,
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 45.
I got you. So Isaiah 45:17, but Israel shall be saved in Yahweh with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed or confounded, world without end.
Right, beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The world without end, because it's going to be our world. The world of Israel. Our world is never going to end. You know what I'm saying? But these heathens, their nation, their rulership is, But I got one more point too, because just on the fate of the prophet of Isaiah, now they say, because we don't know how he died, what happened to him, but according to early Christian so-called tradition, they said that he was sawn in half by the king. Hezekiah's son, which, like we just read in Isaiah 1:1, I believe he probably wasn't alive at that time. But if you read the book where it came from, the shit was off, because it was saying that he was in a tree and then the king got him split in half. But also said something about, like, right after it said something about 7 heavens and some bullshit. So you could tell that's not. There's no 7. The scripture says there's 3 heavens. So, just in case, Jake hear about that, because I used to believe that too, but we don't know.
Yeah, I didn't think. Even if that's true, damn, that's crazy.
But yeah, man, Lord willing, Lord willing, hopefully that was edifying. You know, to next week, Lord willing, will be Jeremiah, I believe. So hopefully that was edifying. Give all praises and glory to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakadash.
the Apostle Gms Ruel. Shalom to the faithful men. Continue doing the work of the Lord.
Shalom.